All right, this is period 5, the modern period from 1750 to 1900. And this is the review for your test. So let's get into this. All right, we're going to break this down by key concepts. There's 4 of them for period 5. Key concept 5.1 is industrialization and global capitalism. So it's looking at the Industrial Revolution and how that has contributed to economic change. Start my timer. Okay, the first thing you need to look at is why the Industrial Revolution began in Britain. So those are factors of production. The things really you need to know are the availability of raw materials. Europe has lots of natural resources, lots of coal, lots of iron. So that's going to stimulate the Industrial Revolution. They have access to rivers and canals, and so that they can transport goods very, very easily. And they also have a lot of capital, so they have the money to invest. Remember, there are 2 industrial revolutions. The first industrial revolution is all about the steam engine and textiles. And then you have the second industrial revolution, which is going to be steel production, electricity, chemicals, things like that. Know that the Industrial Revolution is going to lead to global trade. All of that is based on the factory system. Europe's going to need the raw materials to help support that, which is going to ultimately lead to imperialism. Because you got to have somewhere to go get all these products from. Industrialization is also going to lead to the development of capitalism, mainly making sure that you are making money off of your business, sometimes at the expense of your workers, which leads to other byproducts of the Industrial Revolution. Then you get transportation and communication. So you have railroads, steamships. Like I said, you get the openings of the Erie Canal, the Suez Canal, which is super important to Egypt, and then the Panama Canal. You also have different responses to industrialization. Too many eyes. Workers are going to start organizing themselves into unions, which at first were legal. They're wanting better wages, better hours, better working conditions, because you still have a lot of child labor in this time period. Think of little Chauncey when you think of working conditions during the Industrial Revolution. You're going to have people who are opposed to capitalism and everything that the Industrial Revolution stands for. One of these is going to be Marxism, which was set up by Karl Marx, and that's the whole theory of class struggle between the proletariat, who are the workers, and the bourgeois, who are the middle class, the people that own the factories, who are making money at the expense, like I said, of the workers. Then you have the social aspects of the Industrial Revolution. And so the Industrial Revolution creates new social classes. You get the middle class, which are people who are making money off the factories that Marx was opposed to. You have the working class. Like I said, think of Chauncey. A lot of child labor. This is going to disrupt the factory. Like I said, the conditions are bad. So overall, bad things in general are happening as a result of the Industrial Revolution. But it's what's driving everything from this point forward. Okay, so just to kind of recap of things going on in the Eastern Hemisphere, don't forget you have the Ottoman Empire that's kind of over here. They're using Islam as a unifying force. They're very diverse. They are going to start to collapse during this time period, so they're known as the Eastern Question because they're very stagnant. They're really not doing anything. They're not adopting new technology. They have bad rulers. They're losing land. And we'll talk about that when we come to nationalism, but they're losing Egypt, Greece, the Balkans. They get into the Crimean War with Russia to stop Russian expansion. So you have all this stuff going on. The Mughal Empire is ultimately, during this period, going to be taken over by the British during imperialism because India is producing textiles. They have lots of cotton. They're the world's biggest producer of cotton. And Britain needs cotton for their textile industry. So that's why the British go there. Japan is pretty much still isolated. They're getting rid of their samurai eventually, and they're still close to foreigners until Matthew C. Perry from the United States forces them to start trading. Then Japan institutes their Meiji Restoration, where they're able to restructure their economy and start industrializing. China is still underneath the Manchus. In the Qing Dynasty, there's a demand for tea in China, or Chinese tea, by the British, which is why the British eventually start the Opium Wars and start smuggling opium into China so they can gain access to the tea. They have to sign the Treaty of Nanjing, which doesn't end well for them. China also has the Boxer Rebellion, where they're trying to get rid of foreigners, which is ultimately going to be unsuccessful for them. So just a kind of real quick overview of what's going on in this part of the world. The other key concepts I am going to cover on the next podcast. My plan is to get them all done into, so I think we can get that done.